Hey watch friends, today we're going to take a look at something special. This is from the microbrand Loresum, and this is their LS04 Moonphase. In case this looks or sounds familiar, we actually checked out the prototype of the blue Aventurine version when it was running on Kickstarter around February of 2024. They now actually have they not only successfully funded that, they've made it through full production, they've delivered those, and we'll check out a pair of them, specifically the blue Aventurine as well as the black Aventurine production versions. We'll check out the optional bracelet, all that kind of good stuff. But today, what we're really going to explore is this homage to the 55th anniversary of the moon landing, and this is specifically their limited edition of only 200. This particular version is going to have a lot of similarities to the prior model, so this will not be a full review, but we're going to explore some of what's unique about it and really just get a feel for what this one looks like across various lighting conditions, all that kind of good stuff. So first, let's take a quick look at the packaging, because this one comes with unique packaging. These moon landing anniversary editions feature this really cool, slick, outside glossy slipcover. Inside, you're then going to have just the standard cardboard box. And then once you pop that open, you have inside this nice padded, it's a hard box. For that, you can see it does have these tabs on the side, of course, branded there, embossed texture. This is like a faux, I believe, leather finishing. And then as you pop that open, you can see you've got the Loresum there, nice felt lining for it. Very nice opening and unboxing experience. Certainly not as practical as some travel kind of pieces, but very nice experience there. And then opening that up, of course, you have on the pillow with the watch itself, and then down at the bottom you have your warranty card and all that kind of good stuff. So overall, I think it's very nice packaging for the money. Alright, so now that we have a better feel for how this is going to ship, as I mentioned, this is going to be going directly from their website. I'll of course have a link down in the video description. It's limited to 200. The price on this I'll address right off the bat. It's going to be around $1,100 US at the pre-order price. What do you get for that? This is going to have some unique elements compared to the other versions. Specifically, one of the first things you're going to notice is this has an all-black dial, and it's a real deep, inky black dial. This is actually my first experience with what this dial material is, and it specifically is a black onyx. While I always appreciated that black onyx was a cool stone, I did not appreciate the depth that this would include. I've seen black enamels and those kinds of things, and we feature them on the channel, but this really just has such an inkiness to it. It's hard to put into words or even probably visualize as far as the camera shots, especially because, of course, you're always dealing with a little bit of glare and reflection. It's not negatively so, and I find in regular usage it does in no way detract away from this. But one of the other things you're going to notice that they really changed up with this variant is the moon. Specifically with this one, whereas the previous one was a mother of pearl and it had kind of like a 3D printing to get the texture, this one is actually an 18 karat gold plated moon featured for this. But additionally, if you look real close in some of these shots, you're going to see that there is an Easter egg on there. Around the 2 o'clock position on the moon, this one actually has the footprint to, again, symbolize that moon landing, which is a really cool little touch there. Additionally, many of you, for those who have seen the original review, we can talk about the basic specs. This is coming in at around 39.5 millimeters from 3 to 9, 20 millimeter lugs, 46.6 millimeter lug to lug. All that kind of stuff is going to be the same. Where this does vary is it's slightly thicker, specifically coming in at 11.4 millimeters. The reason for that being, when we previously looked at the prior one at 11 millimeters, that was inclusive of this highly domed box edge sapphire crystal. It was an extremely thin watch, and nothing has changed there. At 11.4 millimeters, including this box edge sapphire crystal, this is still extremely thin. But why is it a little bit thicker? The reason for that being, this one actually switched over, whereas that was the Miyota 9015. For those who followed the Kickstarter campaign, you know that they included an option to upgrade to the Salida. Well, this limited edition actually comes standard with that. So you're looking at such a negligible difference in total thickness that really I don't think you're going to notice on wrist. What that does bring, though, with the change to the Salida movement is this actually now features a clockwise moon. So the moon rotation is going to follow like the northern hemisphere pattern. Again, if you're familiar with the Kickstarter, you know about some of that discussion there and as far as preference towards that, which is the reason why they incorporated the Salida. And I think it worked extremely well. Additionally, one of the things that's going to be different on this particular version is they actually changed over, so this now features a solid caseback. And we'll check out the other casebacks here momentarily. But the solid caseback, I just have a picture popped up. It's actually going to be a tribute, again, to the 55th anniversary of the moon landing. That's going to be changed up a little bit from the prototype, hence why I'm not showing you the actual real-world version of it, because there were some typos and some different pieces there. But that has been cleaned up, and you can see the shot of what this looks like. With the other casebacks, you'll see that these actually had an exhibition case back. And as we transition between the two, you can see this blue Aventurine, which is the stainless steel version. That one actually features the Salida movement. So you can see that was a decorated Salida movement. But then additionally, though, you had the other version that had the Miyota. Both of those did have the exhibition caseback or exhibition window. They changed over on this one to help keep the cost reasonable for it and to really kind of accommodate what they believed everybody would want the most. They wanted to have the Salida upgrade without having some of the additional decoration costs and those kinds of things for it, just to keep the price point reasonable. As we look at these bracelets on the production version, or as you can see here with the production versions that I have, these bracelets, again, these were options for the actual Kickstarter campaign. They came out fantastically. I love the overall design that they chose for this. This is actually consistent, if you saw that review, with what my recommendation was and my preference. I think these turned out great. Whether you're looking at the DLC version or the stainless steel version, they're really attractive. They're extremely comfortable on the wrist, nice and thin, nice balanced lightweight to them. Unfortunately, they couldn't include quick release spring bars because they were so thin. And they do have butterfly clasp, which I realize is going to be polarizing for some, but I think it just fits the overall design so well. Extremely happy with that option. While it is still optional on the limited edition version, I do highly recommend that you pick one of those up. Really nice accent for it. But as far as the strap that is included on this LE, this does change it up here too. They really wanted to lean into the NASA kind of theming for this. So you're going to notice that this is still a leather-based strap. However, it now has kind of like a nylon top surface, and it really just fits that NASA or that space kind of theming. And I think that is extremely well chosen for this LE. What's really cool though is despite the fact that this gives it some of that vibe of the NASA feel, it actually still really dresses up nicely, even on this strap. I've worn this with a suit, I've worn it in casual wear. Across the board, I really think it's just suited for pretty much any task, and that's pretty fantastic. As far as the lume with this, one of the things that is unfortunately a takeaway from this, or a detractor from this particular version, is you do lose that lumed moon. So unfortunately with the 18 karat gold, that was something they couldn't carry through, and I've got to say, the lume is honestly underwhelming. I find the same thing is true with the production versions of the watches, even with the moon there. It's a cool accent and it's a cool touch, but as far as lume performance, because of the way this is printed, this is going for more of like an elegant, dressy type watch, so it isn't going to be the strongest lume in the world, so I don't think that's a huge loss, but it is something that's a touch, and it is something that I did prefer on the original. However, during the day, this thing looks absolutely incredible. I can't get over how good, how much warmth, how much depth that moon adds to this dial. So while I did absolutely love the realism that you got with the mother of pearl moon, this one with just having that gold plating and that warmth of the gold, having that star kind of backdrop set down in, but then just in a complete abyss of that inkiness of the black onyx, just such a cool accent and touch here. So really can't complain about that at all. I think that looks absolutely fantastic. But while we've talked a lot about this particular limited edition version, this one, like I said, it's everything that I loved about the prior version and just really takes it up with the materials. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. I don't know what's my favorite of these because they all look so stinking good, which to that end, let's go ahead and actually shift gears a little bit and focus a little more on my two variants, and these are both production versions. I've got to say, the execution on them, I think they came out extremely well. The prototypes were already really good to begin with, so I can't complain about there. I do think they cleaned some little things up as you go throughout the watches, but overall they're comfortable, they're aesthetically pleasing watches. Whether you chose with the prior version for the production ones, or if you pick one up later if they become available again, any of the versions you go with, whether you're talking the blue Aventurine, the black Aventurine, the mother of pearl, the white or black mother of pearl, all those kind of variants, they're all great. I think they look so good. They all fit that Moonphase space kind of theming, and it's just different vibes for it. Here when we're looking at that blue Aventurine, that has, of course, I would say more of like the from Earth kind of view of space, where you're looking out there and you see the stars, and it's never really that complete pitch black because we get, of course, like reflection, from our ozone and otherwise with light, where it just, I do think, gives kind of that bluish coloration like you get on the blue Aventurine. But then the black Aventurine, this was personally my first experience with it. It's such a cool material. It has an extremely different vibe than blue Aventurine, which is much more common. With this to me puts me in mind of what I imagine space is like from space. So as opposed to looking up from Earth and seeing space, this is just that purity of blackness. So you get that deep, rich black. Certainly, it's not going to be the same level of black as this black onyx would be, but you just get that deep space feel while still having that twinkling star effect. And then with the LE itself, just that purity again of that inky blackness. Such a cool look, and they just all exhibit and exude such a different feel. And that's what I have actually found here too, even with comparing this blue and this black version. I thought they might be overlapping in the collection because they're fairly similar. Obviously, the DLC case versus stainless steel case, all that kind of stuff. But they really have such a different feel to them. They both dress up differently. They both wear differently. So despite the fact that they have obvious similarities, I think they're both fantastic. And the same thing's true as far as the movements. For me personally, I really don't think it's that big of a deal whether it rotates counterclockwise or clockwise. In practical purposes, sure, it might be a mirror image for Northern Hemisphere folks if you're not at a full moon when you're looking at it with the Miyota version. Whereas with the Sellita version, yeah, I do probably prefer that. But I love Miyota movements as a whole. In thickness and everything else with them, really nothing to complain about there. They're both excellent. So all of this is to say, if this is one that previously caught your eye, maybe you picked one up and you're looking to add something a little special here with the black onyx as well as the 18 karat gold moon, this is really fantastic. And if you don't have one of these, or if these are new to being on your radar, whether you go with some of the originals of those materials or you eye up one of this limited edition of the 200 here with the black onyx, I absolutely don't think you would be disappointed. These watches are so cool, they're so thin, they're nicely proportioned for pretty much any wrist size. They're just one of the best moon phases out there, in my opinion, that you're going to find. And then with the black onyx, in case you didn't notice, this does carry over the same kind of theming. It does change over the chapter ring as well, so you do get some nice accent touches there compared to like the ribbed or fluted version that you had on the prior. This carries over with that like black onyx look. It adds, again, with the Loresum down at the 6 o'clock position, they black that out so it's much more stealthy and just such an elegant look overall. So I really think it's fantastic. And like I said, I would have a hard time if I had to pick a single one, picking which one I would go with. Obviously, I have these two. This one's a prototype that was sent in here, but man, is it tough to resist. So I hope this has been a fun kind of revisit for you and checking these out to see them in their production form, as well as exploring this limited edition version that you have the opportunity to pick up. So if you did like it, please do tap that like button. If you haven't already done so, give that subscribe button a smash, and then drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. Which material's your favorite? Which style do you like of these different ones? Do you like the LE? Do you prefer the originals? All that kind of good stuff. Thanks for watching.